And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So, this fourth segment is going to be about, not really a recap, just sort of a rundown of the games that are going to be going on today and what to be expected since the NBA is finally back. Most of the games start at 7 o'clock, so get your local stations ready. The primetime games are Dallas and Phoenix at 7:30, and the Lakers against Golden State at 10 o'clock. So we'll talk about those two games first, rather than and then we'll go ahead and break down some of the other games that I think are going to be relatively good games, like popular games, all that kind of stuff. So again, the Mavs match up against the Suns in 6 hours. They play in Dallas. And we all know the relationship that Luka has with the Phoenix Suns. There's a whole meme on the internet going around where it's been a meme that Luka is the owner of the Phoenix Suns. He owns part-time. He has a part-time ownership, and that part-time ownership comes into effect when the playoffs start. So obviously, Luka tends to have some of his best games against the Phoenix Suns. So there's a lot of beef between the two teams, and most of the time in the games that they end up playing, there's usually a brawl that starts out, or there's some sort of scuffle between a player like Luka and Devin Booker. Those are the two popular ones that end up being in a scuffle most of the time, because they're both young, they're both great, phenomenal scorers, and it's just Luka just seems to keep getting the best of him. Of Devin Booker in the biggest games when it matters most. He got the best of him most recently in the playoff series, and I believe it was 2022. Yeah, it was 2022 when the Mavericks ended up beating the Phoenix Suns really badly at home, and they've sort of been resentful ever since then, and they really, really don't like Luka. So, and on top of that, there's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, who were recently brought onto both of those teams via trade after spending time with the Brooklyn Nets. So, I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty intense matchup. I haven't seen a report on whether or not Kyrie is going to be missing the game. So, as of right now, I'm assuming that he's participating in this matchup. So if he is participating and if KD is participating, that's another great matchup to expect. But if he's not, because it is Kyrie, you never know, he might just say no at the last second. I think it would still be a great matchup simply because of how great of a basketball player Luka Doncic is. I mean, he could get a 40-point triple-double any given night, and he's always a treat to watch. So I definitely think that's going to be one of the best games of the night. And the other game that I was also excited about was the Lakers going up against the Golden State Warriors at 10 o'clock. I am a little less excited about it now because LeBron is not playing. So with that in mind, I think the Lakers are losing. And I'm going to say that every single time that LeBron doesn't play a single game, because I genuinely do not think that this team has what it takes to win enough consecutively without LeBron James. And they might have beaten the Celtics at home, but I do not care. LeBron has obviously proven to be one of the more valuable players on the team, and the team can't do anything without him. So, especially against this Golden State team, where they're on a roll right now, I think it's going to be really difficult to stop this team without having LeBron James as a scoring option for your team. Steph Curry, he's been on a tear, and recently Klay Thompson actually had a good game before the All-Star break, coming off the bench. So we don't know. Maybe he'll also be in the scoring sheets as well, being as efficient as he normally is. But we'll see when that game happens. And the big problem that I have is that we were robbed of another LeBron versus Steph Curry matchup, and I had a huge feeling that LeBron was going to end up winning this matchup again. I mean, because he's LeBron James. But regardless, I think it's just a missed opportunity. He's out with a calf injury. I'm not sure if it's load management or if he's genuinely just out with a calf injury, but regardless, it's not going to be I don't think it's going to be as much of an exciting game anymore. But we never know. D'Angelo Russell, he's been balling. Austin Reeves, he was balling. Roy Hachimura, he's been balling as well. So could be in for a good game. Who knows? The Knicks play Philly at 7 o'clock, so just before the Dallas versus Phoenix game goes on. And again, most of the Knicks and their roster is relatively injured. They do have Jalen Brunson back. So that's always a positive. It will be a nice matchup because Philly is also suffering through injuries, and the Knicks are also suffering through injuries. The Sixers were a team that added a valuable asset to their team via trade. The Knicks are also another team that added one of their assets via trade. So it will be very interesting to see both of these two teams go up against each other and the point guard battle between Maxey and Jalen Brunson. Now, they were both All-Star reserves in the All-Star game, so obviously like they're sort of like neck and neck in terms of like I guess fan rankings, and so we'll see in the matchup like who has the better game. Obviously, like I think Jalen Brunson is the better player, but Tyrese Maxey can go off here and there. Like he knows how to score, and it's apparent that he knows how to score. Another game that's going on is my Brooklyn Nets going up against Toronto. We're going to lose. We always lose. End of story. Don't want to talk about that game. Let's move on to Detroit going up against Indiana. No, I'm just kidding. But the Nets again, like they go up against the Raptors, and this is going to be a revenge game. Assuming Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be playing in this game. Oh, wait, no, I lied. Spencer Dinwiddie's not going to be playing in this game. Forget I completely said that. I totally forgot that he was a Laker now. Because the Brooklyn Nets, they recently traded him to the Raptors, and I just completely forgot that he was waived. That's my bad. But it's going to be a revenge game for Schroeder. That's for sure. I mean, again, like, you guys know how I feel about the Brooklyn Nets. I think the season is over. I think we're done. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Let's move on. So, the Pistons and the Pacers. Not really much to say. It's the worst team going up against one of the best offensive teams in the league. Actually, you know what? I lied. Anything can happen with this Pacers team because their defense is incredibly bad. So, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons are able to just randomly pull out some random win coming out of the break against this Pacers team. But not really much to really talk about that game. I mean, Isaiah Stewart is going to be in court. Actually, wait a minute. That's a good question. Is Isaiah Stewart going to participate in this game? I think Isaiah Stewart has one more game that he's going to participate in, and then he goes to court Friday. So, not entirely sure how that's going to play out, but that's going to be that's going to be interesting how they handle the situation. I'm surprised they don't just waive him. But another matchup that's going down, Cleveland against the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, they've been under the not really, yeah, I guess you could say that. They've been under the radar. Like they're not a fantastic team, but they're not a bad team either. They're an 8th seeded team in the Eastern Conference, and Paolo Banchero was an all-star. So, it's not like they're bad. It's not like they're perfect either, however. And they go up against the Cavs at home. I think the Cavs are going to end up winning this game just because of the Cavs, they have a better overall roster than the Orlando Magic. But the thing with the Magic is that they have a lot of young players, and the Cavs have that too. But a lot of these young players are sort of I feel like they're still trying to find a role in the league, and try to find a way to be effective and try to find their stride, for lack of a better term, I guess you could say. So, with that in mind, I feel like any of these players, they could go off in any kind of game if the scenario is right. I mean, they beat the Knicks 118-100 with Franz Wagner scoring 21 points and Banchero scoring 36. That's the thing with Paolo Banchero. He's a very good all-around player. He can score, he can pass, he can rebound the ball relatively efficiently. He's averaging almost 7 rebounds and 5 assists. So, seeing as how this isn't, I believe this is his second year. I'm just going to check just to make sure. It might be his third year. I'm just going to make sure real quick and in the stats. But having somebody this young being able to produce these amount of numbers is always great for your franchise. And let me just go ahead and look at... Okay, his stats for some reason are not popping up right now. Yep, 2 seasons in the NBA. So, second season, and he's already averaging 26 points per game. So, not bad whatsoever, and the Orlando Magic are definitely like in a good spot right now with the team that they have and with the number one option that they have. So, they just have to develop it, and that's all that there is to it. The Clippers go up against the Thunder. I think the Clippers are going to end up beating the Thunder, and they're going to they're going to end up having the same record as the Thunder again if they do go with this win. And let me just go ahead and look at the standings in the Western Conference. Yeah, they'll have the same exact record, which will put them second in the Western Conference, I believe. Right now they're third. So they definitely need this win. And the Thunder, on the other hand, like they have to show me that like they can beat competent teams that are like they're expected to meet in the postseason. Because again, like I've said this before with this team, like they're not the same team that I thought that they were, and they're not as dangerous as I thought that they were, so I don't really fear them as much as I did. But again, they play at home, and they have a serious advantage when they play at home. So we'll see what happens with this game. I definitely think it's going to be a great game. Probably, honestly, I think it might be a better game than that Laker game. And I feel like, given how LeBron's not playing. And as of what other important games are going to be going on? The Boston Celtics, they match up against Chicago. Not really much to say on that because, Boston is just a far better team than Chicago, and I don't really feel a need to talk about that game all that much unless the Bulls just somehow pull off an upset, which then I will talk about the game. The Pelicans go up against Houston. Again, I think the Pelicans are going to end up winning just simply because they're the better team. Utah and Charlotte match up against each other as well. I honestly think that the Charlotte Hornets could pull off a win against the Utah Jazz, because Charlotte has recently been on a roll with a lot of their players, and Utah has recently been on the downside and been losing a lot of games since the trade deadline. And I think that they are going into a whole rebuild, and they are just tanking at the moment. What other games are going on? Washington goes up against Denver. Again, another easy game. I think Denver is going to easily beat them because not only do they play Washington, but they also play them at home, like in Denver. So, definitely think that Denver is going to win in that matchup. The Kings are going up against the Spurs. I think the Kings are going to win. Their offensive firepower is just too much for that Spurs team. And the team just hasn't developed yet to where it's expected to be. And what other games went down? Yeah. Those are basically all the games that are going to be going on today. Be sure to tune in to the Mavs game because I definitely think that's going to be a great game. And if you can tune into the OKC game, I'd say tune into the OKC game because I feel like that's going to be a better. You'd be spending your time a lot better than if you were to watch the Lakers game. But with that, we are out of time for this segment, and therefore that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference, and we also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And I'd like to remind everybody, as always, to remember to tip and to donate to get your comments recognized. The link is streamelements.com/GSMCsportsnetwork./tip. Helps the show, makes the show much more interactive between myself, the host, you guys, the viewers. Link is displayed below the ticker and in the description of the show. And that is it for the show. Thank you once again. I am your host, Nelson. Have a wonderful day. And as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that